Hi, I'm Alicia, and welcome to my channel Papercraft Secrets. Today I'm sharing a set of beautiful gift tags that I made with the Mintay Papers Apple Season Collection, the Mintay Chippies Tag Pack, and the Mintay Chippies Words. You can see that I started with the 6x6 paper pad, the chippy tags, and the chippy words. I used a blade to help me get the tags ready for my project. My next step was to work on the sentiments that I wanted to include on my tags. So again, I used my blade to help me remove those from the backing chipboard. Once I had all of those chipboard pieces ready, I then used the 6x6 scrapbooking paper pad for Apple Season to choose some papers for my little tags. I drew around the outline of the tag with a pencil onto the paper so that I knew where I needed to cut. Then I took my sharp scissors and I cut out around the edge of the pencil line so that it would fit onto my tag. I need also a piece of paper for the back of my tag as well. So I then placed the cut piece onto another piece of paper and just cut around it with my scissors so that I had two pages that were exactly the same shape. Then I punched a hole in the tag where I drew the little circle. And then I glued that tag or that paper onto my tag. I repeated this process for each one of the tags, choosing a piece of paper from the 6x6 paper pad, tracing around it with a pencil, and then cutting it out with the scissors. Then I'd find a second piece of paper, trace around it, and cut it out with the scissors. And I continued this process until all my tags were cut out and glued together. The next thing I did was to take my sanding block. I sanded the edges of my tag with the sanding block. This allowed me to smooth the edges of each tag. If I had some paper that was a little bit too much or hanging over the edges, the sanding tool could just bring it all back to a nice, even and smooth finish. So I just did that to each of the tags. My next step was to cut some ribbon for the tags, and I chose a bright red ribbon to enhance the red colors in this collection. So I cut enough for all of my tags, and then I folded the ribbon in half, poked it through the little hole, and then through the loop and tied a bow. And so I popped a bow on all of those tags. The next thing I did was ink the edges with my aqua blue ink pad. This colour matched the papers, but again, you could also use a red ink pad, which I think would look really pretty. And this just sort of blends those edges of the tag and finishes the project a little bit. The next thing I did was I inked my words. So I used a red ink for this, and I just popped the wooden sentiment down onto some scrap paper and inked all over that word. Once I had all my words inked up, I used a red glitter glue to go over the top of my word to add some extra red and some sparkle. And I repeated that process for each of the words. For the design of these tags, I wanted to use a Prima flower, and I wanted to use some of the Apple Season paper die cuts. So I experimented with adding the little puppy to this tag. I wanted to use one of my words that I had decorated, and then I ended up adding a little red flower as well. Once I was happy with my design, I used some recycled cardboard to add a little bit of height dimension behind some of my little die cuts. I added a green leaf as well onto this tag, and then I glued on my flower and my word. So you can see that the design was quite simple, but so pretty. I had a little message already written on the backs. I wrote all my messages on the back of the tags before I decorated them. Moving on to my next tag now, my Prima flower, and looking for some cute little design cut pieces. I've got the little kitten and the apples, and I chose the word inspire. Once I had my word at the top, I decided to put some cardboard on the back of my apples and on the back of my little kitten. My rolling pin I just glued straight onto the base of the tag so that I had a bit of variety in heights, and then I had my flower next to the kitten, and that was the second tag done. The third tag now, the word super, a big floral cluster, thought I would pop that on there with some recycled cardboard, and I've got those beautiful cakes. Maybe I could use the scales, gluing on my word super. Gluing on my big floral cluster and my flower, and gluing on my scales. Moving on to my next tag. This one I chose the word happy, a green flower, a little puppy dog, or maybe a kitten. They're both so cute. And a little red flower. Gluing on my happy word now. Just getting some little recycled pieces to put on the back of my flower. I'll just add a little bit of cheesecloth maybe on here for a little bit more texture to my tag. Beautiful. Moving on to the next tag, I use the words be you. Maybe the little puppy dog, maybe the ute. Maybe the ute and the puppy dog together. I just had a little bit of a play around with the elements and decided on that. A little bit of recycled cardboard so that the puppy dog can sort of stand out a little bit on the back of the ute. Adding on the sentiment, be you. A little bit of cheesecloth to soften it a bit. Onto our next tag now. I've got the word life and a green flower. I do like those cupcakes, they look delicious. It's getting a little bit more recycled cardboard. Popping some on the back of the cupcakes. Bit of cheesecloth. Adding one of those red flowers and my own flower, and then adding on the life sentiment. I felt like they needed just a little bit of a mixed media touch, so I got a little bit of red inking mist or spray mist, and I just sprinkled some red droplets over the tags. The best idea is to actually cover your little pictures that you don't want splotches on. You can see I got a few on my cat that doesn't look very nice, so I ended up putting another die cut on top of the cat because she got those red spots on her face and it didn't look so good. So a very good tip is if you don't want spots on your animals or your pictures, just pop a little bit of paper over the top so that they don't get sprinkled on. And that was the conclusion of my tags. They came out so bright and colourful and cheery, and I was really happy with how they turned out. I immediately posted them off to friends to brighten their day, and I really enjoyed using this beautiful Apple Season paper with the chipboard tags and the chipboard words from Mintay. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. You could use this tutorial with any of the Mintay paper collections. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and have a lovely crafty day.